Hello, my name is Max Thomas, and I will be talking about my Golf Mania quiz. So, first of all, this idea all started because I am interested in golf, and so I wanted to make a quiz about the game of golf. And so, whenever I created this quiz, I realized after I made it that most, most of the general public would not understand what the quiz questions mean or what the answers to the quiz are. So that is why I made a rulebook. So in this rulebook, it tells you about the history, the terminology, and the game additions to golf. And basically, this to sum this up, it tells you the very basic rules of golf, which you are then tested on within the quiz. So this back arrow sends you to the Golf Mania home screen. So when I click on the quiz, you are as well able to use the back arrow in order to get back to the Golf Mania screen. And so whenever I get a question correct, it says yay, and it increases the score by 1. Whenever I get the question wrong, it says nay, and the score does not increase. And whenever you complete the quiz and you answer all 5 questions, it says that your quiz is completed and it sends you directly back to the Golf Mania screen. So now I'll talk about my code. So first of all, this is how I started to create the quiz, and this answers list are all the answers to the quiz, and then the questions list are obviously all the questions of the quiz. And so in this code runs in order for the questions and the answers to match up. So this answer evaluator block, it tells me that it sets the item of question index to answers. And so if the answer, which is the list that has 55, birdie, tee shot, bogey, and 2, which are the answers to the questions, are equal to par 1, which in this case is the correct variable for my questions, and it will set the score to score plus 1, which increases the score by 1. And then it'll broadcast yay, which is exactly what I showed in the quiz. And then if the answer does not equal par 1, then it will broadcast nay. And these are just whenever the certain buttons are clicked in the quiz, or certain things happen in the quiz, it switches the backgrounds. So this rule book is when it's saying it's when the flag is clicked, it sets the size to 49%, and whenever I have clicked, it broadcasts the rule book clicked, which in turn, yeah. So and then the quiz, it does the same thing for the quiz, which it broadcasts the quiz right here, and then the rule book is there. This back arrow, this is the functions for the back arrow in order to get out of the rulebook and the quiz. This code is for whenever the quiz is completed, and broadcasts back to the Golf Mania screen. This this costume or this background is the rule book for the quiz. So this I made this on my iPad that I have at home. And so I imported this into my project and I created the background for the rulebook. And these are what happens when the rulebook is clicked. This is the code to make that background show up. Yeah, and that is how I created my performance task. So now I'll go on to my written responses. So for my written responses, I for my first question, I explained how the program was created in Snap, and the program teaches the user the basics of golf through the rule book, and then that is then applied to the quiz. So the functionality of the program is that you click the rule book to read and learn about the basics of golf. And then the user can as well choose to click the arrow to send them back to the home page, which was demonstrated in the video. And then for the quiz, the user it gets shown a set of questions, a series of 5 questions, where they are able to apply their knowledge from the rulebook in order to answer the questions in the quiz. So, describe the input and output of the program demonstrated video. So, in the video that I made, the program asks the user questions, and so then the user has to input answers to those questions that it was asked in the quiz. And so the output of that particular answer would be it broadcasts yay, increases the score by 1, or it broadcasts nay and the score does not increase. So in this picture above, I am demonstrating the list that is named questions, which has which has my series of 5 questions within the list. So in this list, there are 5 questions, which I've mentioned before, and they are all asked in sequence, which is essentially what the quiz or what the question list does for the code. So within this code, if there was no list made, there would have to be code made for each individual question. So it would be like if the question is this, then the output is this and this. And so I would have to duplicate the code that is ran for the uh, to output my answers, and I would have to run that code 5 different times for the 5 different questions if I did not have a list. So in the identified procedure, it uses the question index to basically say that if the user response matches the data of the answers list, then this procedure, which is the question index, it will broadcast yay, increase the score by 1. And then, as well, if it does not match it, it will broadcast nay and the score won't increase. So, explain in detailed steps how the algorithm implemented in the identified procedure works. My explanation must be detailed enough for someone else to create it. So, the first step in my procedure is that it receives a parameter for the user's input. Then it sets that variable to the same value of my answers list on the current index position, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there's 5 questions. Then it will see which answer. It will see if the answer variable equals the input parameter. If the uh, then if that input then if the answer is equal to the input parameter, it will broadcast yay and increase the score by 1. And then if it doesn't match the parameter, then it'll broadcast nay. So my first call in my procedure, which is identified in 3C, which is this. My first call it's called from the first question, and the first answer in the list is the first time that the answer evaluator is called. And then it will be called in sequence 5 more times. The second time the answer evaluator will be called is during the second question in the list and the second answer in the list, which I explained above. This segment of code will get called 5 times because there are 5 questions. So within the first call, if the input matches the first answer in the list, then it will broadcast yay, which is in response 3 I. The result of the first call is yay, and it increases the score by 1, which is what happens if the input matches the first answer within the list. So the second call is if it matches the second call, the second answer within the list. And well, if it matches it, then it'll broadcast yay, increase the score by 1. And if it does not, then it broadcasts nay, and the score does not increase. And that is all. Thank you.